What's up? Where am I looking?
Looking good. Give me an idea, man. You're looking good. How are you feeling right now, man? I mean, mission accomplished.
I feel like $1,000,000, man. It's surreal. It won't sink in until I get to my home in Florida and I drive around my neighborhood, and everything just comes down. So, dream come true. All you got to do is callous your mind, don't quit, chip at it every single day, and you can get to your goal. When I first started this, I'm a former basketball player. No jiu-jitsu, no boxing, no nothing. But I showed up at the gym. Reese Hall was my first trainer. Tommy Yodi was the first guy that got me in the gym from Palm Coast, Florida. And I remember I would go to the gym and I sucked so bad. And I would always hear my coach on the phone with like promoters saying, oh yeah, we got Tommy for a title fight, or we got Jimmy, or we got Johnny Barrett. And I just wanted him to have those phone calls about me. So I would just show up every day, work as hard as I could, started fighting. I wasn't even winning, but I just started fighting. I kept fighting. I kept losing. Phil, you should, why are you doing this? You this. Kept the callous mind, kept at it. 8 years later, I'm here, training with some of the baddest guys in the world. My main training partner is Jacare Souza. I train with Mike Perry every day for the past 7 years, Adolfo Vera. So coming into the UFC, there's nothing that I'm not ready for. There's no one in my division that is going to feel like Adolfo Vera. There's no one in my division that's going to hit as hard as Mike Perry, and that's a fact. So 6'4", I have too much reach. And I'm fast. I have good footwork. I'm just ready to showcase my skill set, and I'm just ready to make money.
This is a dream, obviously, for everybody that steps on Contender Series. But was this personal night as well? It seemed like there was a little emotion.
There was no emotion for me. My thing with this MMA thing, man, and with these MMA guys, it's so much a facade for these guys. Like, I see these guys all the time, and they're all like tough guys, and they're all gangsters, and it's all the same interviews, like, oh, I had to fight my whole life. I fought for everything, and I fought this morning, and I'm ready to fight again, and all. It's the same shit. Like, you can be a good person, you can have good parents, you can have a good upbringing, and this is just a sport. You can train hard and compete, and this guy, like, I was looking at his videos, he's saying, like, I didn't say a damn word, I was just being a fool. If you guys actually saw my real Contender Series, like the whole workout thing, they used absolutely none of it. I don't know where that was, but like I remember there was like a cameo of a tire, and you got to grab the hammer, and you're hitting the hammer, and you're hitting the tire with the hammer, and I grab it and I pretend like it's like Thor's hammer, and then I go to pick it up and I hit it and it bounces off, and the guy is crying, laughing, and then like I'm shadow boxing and I'm doing this, and then I'm pretending to play basketball, just having fun being myself, man. And I didn't say a word about the kid, and then he did all these interviews like, Phil Rowe this, and I'm going to finish him in a round, and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to knock him out. Like, I haven't seen a guy knock out a soul, more or less me. So y'all saw the result. I'm going home with a check and a UFC contract, and he's going home bruised up.
It was a phenomenal win, but there were some other pretty good performances earlier in the evening. So as you're sitting back there with everybody, and they're going, no. I mean, was any part of you going, oh man, maybe what I did wasn't enough?
Not a chance. If you ever see my fights, I'm 0 to 100. I'm either gonna lose or I'm gonna win, obviously. But I'm either gonna finish the fight or I'm gonna lose. And to me, I think, like, if I'm gonna lose, the worst you'll see is me in my closed guard. I have really good jiu-jitsu. People will see that very soon. I have a really good guard. My last fight, I actually pulled guard, and my coaches were screaming at me, but I love being on my back in my closed guard. But when I win, I just find a way to finish every single time. Like, I've never won a fight ever and not finished my opponent, and that's from amateur, all through amateur boxing, all through amateur MMA, all through pro MMA. I've never won a decision. I've always finished my opponent. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if I have power. I don't even think I have power. It's just my length and my footwork equates to power. So I get the job done. Every time I win, I usually finish.
You think you're a welterweight for your whole career, or do you think you're gonna have to move up at some point?
I'm definitely a welterweight. I actually was thinking about dropping to 55 because
I meant, were you gonna go up?
No, ideally I wish, but I've actually fought, if you look at my record, I fought 155 pounds 8 times. And I did it living in West Virginia while my wife was in dental school. I'm literally tuna out the can and kale. If I'm lying, I'm dying right hand to God, I'd walk around with a bag of kale and tuna. And if I got hungry, I'd put my hand in the kale and squeeze 3 handfuls and eat the tuna. And I would drink a gallon of water a day. And I would walk around like 170 and I'd get to 55. I did that myself. Like, no nutritionist, no dietitian, no one telling me to do it. And you can look at my record, at the same height, the same weight. And I was like, man, maybe I get to the UFC if there's like some nutritionists, some dietitians, they can like put all that weird gadgets on me and tell me if I can do it the healthy way. But my coach is like, no, Phil, your grappling's good enough. We want you to go up. I'm not really a big guy. I'm always like 7% body fat. I'm always ripped. I walk around maybe 186 max, and I cut to 170. So I'm really tall, I'm really long, so I guess that makes up for it.
Yeah. Last thing for me, what's the ideal scenario for a debut? I mean, is there a date, a location, opponent, maybe fighting with Jacare, fighting with Perry?
Oh my gosh. Jacare, he is literally my MMA idol. When I say he is probably the most stand-up guy in the game, like, you don't understand how good heart of a person this man is. Like, aside from him joining our team like 2 years ago, he allowed me to corner him. If you guys know Jacare Souza, he can go to any gym on planet Earth. And my coach is the reason he's here. My coach, Julian Williams, is absolutely phenomenal. He's 11-1. He's on a 10-fight win streak. He can get no fights. I don't know why he's not here. He's the best welterweight on the planet, I think. But Jacare came because of him. And Jacare said, Phil, I want you to corner me so you can get this experience because I know you'll be here someday. I mean, I've seen this guy get $4,000 for a seminar, and I train with him every single day. I've been with him when he fought Weidman. He's emaciated, weight cut. We're walking through Times Square. When I say not one person would come up to him and ask for autograph, he stopped for every single person. Not one person did he turn away, and that's just how he is. He's always like that. He's helped me tremendously. Same thing with Platinum Mike Perry, man. He's been my friend since we were amateurs. He lets me corner him as well. He's like, Phil, man, I want you to win, motherfucker, so I can corner and not go to these events and have to fight. I just want to go corner and drink and talk shit and blah, blah, blah. So he's happy that I'm here because I definitely owe him a corner spot. So my team, man, the only reason that I'm here is because of my team, man, and I'm so blessed to have the guys that I have with me.
Shabazian came out super aggressive, right? And then there was a point, probably a little more than halfway through the first round, where I started to notice he's throwing a lot of the same things. He's not using combos to close distance to set it up. He's just kind of throwing. And then it got to the point where, okay, now his mouth is open, he's breathing with his mouth open, and he's throwing everything from a mile away. Is that the turning point of the fight where he said, you know what, I got this guy?
Once again, I think the difference between regional level fighters and UFC fighters, the only difference, obviously you have to have a grappling background, a boxing background. Obviously you can't be a day one gym goer fighting in the UFC. The biggest difference to me is your ability to take attrition and keep going. To me, at this level, you have to be able to take it and keep going. And if you can't, the UFC is not for you. The problem, it wasn't a problem, but I give him credit. I have a nice pull counter, and I'm usually taller than everyone. He was my height, even though I had a little bit more reach. I was just a little bit hesitant on the counter. And I would try to get out the way and shoot, but he would still be able to touch me at the very end, and he touched me too much with it, and it kind of dazed me a little bit. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Then I try to bop a little bit, and I try to walk him off and get back to my right-hand lead, but he was just a little bit long. But I had just fought a guy, my last fight, he was 6'5", and I'm like, what's the odds of me fighting another tall guy? I'm like, give me another short wrestler. Like, that's what I like, little short wrestler guys. So I took it a step back, cracked his leg one time, and I could see his demeanor. I could feel him, like in the clinch. He just didn't want to be there. Like he felt weak. He felt like a little boy. He had like perfect eyebrows. I'm like, I'm not losing to this kid. There's no fucking way. I kept saying that to myself. There's no way I'm losing to this kid. Like if I lose to this kid, I'm just gonna kill myself. Like he came here with Gucci slides on, and like I'm like, nah, smash this dude, and let's get our contract.
When was that? What point was that?
When we clinched, and I felt him, and he felt like my little cousin, and he was just like, and I'm like, Phil, I was a little gassed. I'm like, what are you doing, man? And he just felt weak. And I'm like, take it down a notch. I took him down, I think, and then I was a little gassed, catching my breath back. And then in between rounds, if you hear my coaches, they're like, they know what I can do. Like, dude, get this guy out of here, man. Cut this shit out, walk forward, touch his body, and get him out of here. And that's what I did. I knew if I pressed forward, he would break, period. Like some guys fight out of aggression, and some guys fight out of fear. He fights out of fear. Like if you look at him, he's like, he just wants you to stay away from him, and he's like shooting and he's shooting. But if you meet his pressure with pressure, he'll fold like he just did.
Phil, yesterday at the weigh-in, you guys were the last to face off, and I know that the last 2 weeks, the last matchup has been just very intense. Do you feel like you buckled him a little bit yesterday? Because when you dropped into your stance and everything,
like I said, man, these guys, my advice to all these guys, him included, be yourself, bro. Like that's not you, you know. Be yourself, and if you're yourself, that's the best you, period. So if you're a goofy dude, be a goofy dude, and that's how you're gonna fight. When I first started fighting, I didn't have my friends in the back. All my friends are like Division I All-American wrestlers. I'm in the back. I remember I was fighting in Breakthrough MMA, Jason Arnett's promotion in Daytona Beach. And I'm in the back, and I'm warming up, and I'm so scared. And I'm in the back, and my friends are like, you ready? And I'm like, yeah. And he slaps me, and I'm like, oh my God, that hurt. He's like, yeah, you ready? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna kill him, let's go. And he slaps me again. I'm like, fuck. Yeah. And then I go out there and I'm like, rah, rah. He guy takes me down and just lays on me for like 3 minutes. But then I'm like, nah, that's not me. You know, I'm like, I come out to Bob Marley and I chill and I'm relaxed, and when I'm like that, that's when I move. And that's when I move well. And at weigh-ins, and I saw him, he's just like, I could feel it, you know. He's like, that's not genuine. Like, you're not a tough guy, bro. Like, you get your eyebrows done. You're not tough. There's no way he has eyebrows waxed at weigh-ins. Like, that's his priorities. Like, he's not a tough guy. There's no way I was losing to that kid. So maybe if he was himself and he just relaxed and was a little bit more cerebral and took it back and let that facade go, he'd have done better. But on to the next.
Did you see between rounds when your people in the crowd and his people in the crowd almost got into it?
Oh, I already know what it is with my boys, man. Like, they're monsters, man. So they flew here from Palm Coast, Florida, and I was just praying they didn't get kicked out, because they're just wild people, man. And like, just for me, you know, like when I say like I have the best support system, the best team, if I'm fighting in polar bear in Antarctica, they're all gonna be there, you know. So that's no surprise. I'm glad they did it. I don't promote violence outside of a sport, but they're just really charged up for me, you know.
Do you think it was weird having them in the same section?
If they were in the same section, that was not smart. But if they were in the same section, I don't think that was very weird.
They were in the same section.
That's fucking very weird, because I was hoping they would, because I know he had a big fan base I seen online. I was hoping they put them over there and put my people over there, because I roll with they're good people, but they're just, when it comes to MMA, you know how fans are that don't fight. They get charged up and they think they can fight, you know. And like, I got a bunch of fat friends that surf from Florida that here, they're drunk in the crowd, so you can't tell them nothing.
Did you notice your opponent's girlfriend came up to the cage and was screaming while you were on top of her boyfriend beating him up?
Oh, that's very sad. No, I didn't. Didn't help him much, but I don't know if you caught a glimpse of my wife at the end, but she was pretty bad. So I don't know, man. That's very heartbreaking. I don't care, but that sucks.
I think the wife did good, because his girl ran to be restrained by security. because she was trying to grab the
She was on the
got
cage.
kicked.
What's she gonna do? Beat me up?
I don't know. It was going to get crazy.
My wife would have got to her. She's a dentist. She'd have took all her teeth out of me. She was right there too.
2 contracts tonight.
Word. Dana's like, I need her.
And what made you quit basketball to fight?
It's not like I quit basketball. I feel like God blesses us with a gift, right? And I feel like God blessed me with the gift of basketball. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, East Flatbush, where I grew up. Everybody can ball there, you know? And basketball came so easy to me, like super easy. Guys that can practice for all day long and do this and do that, they weren't half as good as me. But I didn't apply myself, and I let the time pass me by. It's not about just being a good basketball player, it's about being a good basketball player on and off the court. And I wasn't doing things off the court to continue to play. And I feel like that was my talent that I dwindled away, that God gave me. So when I got into MMA, I sucked so bad, and I hated that I sucked at it. And I just really wanted to become a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I'm a brown belt now. I've been training for 8 years, and that was my goal, was just to become a black belt. And I told myself, I'm not stopping this until I get a black belt, because I dwindled away basketball, and basketball was easy, and it's still easy, and I'm the best basketball player in the UFC. Damn, I could say that that's cool, I'm in the UFC. But I'm the best basketball player in the UFC, that's a fact. But I dwindled that away, and MMA was hard for me. So I made sure every day I worked hard, I worked hard, I worked hard, I worked hard. I had an amazing job, 6-figure job up in West Virginia, working on the rigs, 13-hour days. I would leave my unit door open, and I would go to drive to the Pittsburgh Fight Club, and I would train with my boy Kama Worthy, who just made his UFC debut and did his damn thing. Mark Cherico was there. Cody Garbrandt was, he had one pro fight at the time. Adam Milstead, who's a UFC fighter, was there. So I did that, but I just made sure I never quit, man. It was hard, I lost, but I just didn't stop, because I believed in myself, and I knew if I worked harder than the next man, I'd win. Basketball is a little different, man. Like, not judging a book by its cover, but you can never beat me in basketball. No matter how much you train, no matter how much you try, I'm better than you at basketball.
I can shoot better than you.
No, you can't. And I know that. And the cool thing about MMA is, if you work harder than me, you're probably going to win. I say 95% of the time you're going to win. If you apply yourself more, you show up more, you're more disciplined, you eat better, you take it serious, you will be better than me. So I knew that it was completely in my hands, and I knew if I worked hard, I could be here.
Was that hard to
I'm
convince
here.
your wife? You having a 6-figure job and say, honey, I'm gonna go do this MMA.
Yes and no. She's been real supportive of me. At the time, she was in school to become a dentist, and I kind of stumbled on that job, interviewing really well. I wasn't really qualified for it, and I talked my way into a really, really good job, and I did it for as long as I could, and I was trying to quit the job so much. They loved me there so much, they didn't want to let me go. And he would say, Phil, you got to fight this weekend, let me see your fight. But the type of job it was, it's well logging engineering, that's what it's called. So you're on site where they're drilling for natural gas. As long as they're drilling, we're at work. So there'd be guys that haven't seen their families in 60 days, you know, and they get off for 2 days, 50 days, and get off for 3 days. And he would let me go train just because he thought it was cool. And I started feeling bad, and I'm like, Craig, I gotta go. And then after trying to quit for so long, I finally left and just head first in this, and then I'm here now.
Nice.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
Right.
Thanks. Congrats.
You guys.